Welcome to another video. My name is Captain Giorgio, and today we'll be talking about the elements of design. Today we are going to be covering shapes as a visual element. Alright, so let's get started. So again, just to reiterate to those who randomly found this video on the internet, what I'm currently doing is talking about the elements of design and how they can be implemented into the medium of photography. The elements of design are the building blocks of a composition, which helps the viewer understand your artistic expression. This expression that conveys an idea. So let's talk about shapes, like if we were in geometry class. So what are they? Well, it's a two-dimensional figure compressed in a flat plane. So it's pretty flat. Usually the outline of a figure defined by boundaries such as a line, color, or negative space. There's very little in our world that does not have shape. I mean, the video you're watching this from is coming from a screen of some sort, correct? How else are you watching this video? And this screen is in the shape of a rectangle or a square. I can imagine how it would look like if you're watching this video from a triangular screen, or a circular screen for that matter. That'd be pretty cool. Okay, so when you take a photograph, the image, no matter what, will always be flat, which can give you a huge opportunity to capture shapes since they are as well two-dimensional. So realize that what we see with our eyes is not exactly what the camera sees. The camera tends to flatten things out into an image. So play with your perspective and angle when you're taking a photograph to capture those shapes. Speaking of which, there's two types of shapes. One being organic shapes and some being geometrical shapes. So what's the difference? Geometric shapes are usually the shapes that we learn from school, the ones that are very angular, very straight, very symmetrical. These are the ones that are created by us as people and can transmit the emotion of order, stability, solidity, very pointy stuff. Whereas organic shapes, these are the ones found in nature, usually curved and considered irregular. Like, what's the shape of a flower petal? Have you ever thought about the shape of a leaf or a shape of a flower? These are examples of organic shapes that tend to lean more towards relaxation and give off a lazy vibe. So shapes are cool and all, but sometimes they can be hidden in the way they're being shot in a photograph. So that's why in photography, it helps to recognize the shapes when they appear in your composition, because then that gives off an artistic expression that makes the composition more dynamic. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Usually there's like a battle in our vision between positive spaces and negative spaces. So what do I mean by that? Notice how in this photograph there's a present shape that we see, correct? Like, we know it's there. It's a square. Those are known as positive shapes. So negative space is the space that's left over created by positive spaces. So when we tend to capture a photograph, we tend to capture these positive spaces in our image where we recognize that there's an object of some sort in our shot. But when we look at it closely, these positive shapes created something inside of it, a negative space, which gives us an extra layer of information. In this image, for example, can we agree that the negative space created by the positive shapes creates the silhouette of a person with a suitcase? Let me know down in the comments. Let's take a look at another example. The positive space here is being represented by the shapes the buildings create. But notice also how the sky creates the shape of an arrow as well. That's the negative space in action. That's us visualizing a shape that we can't see, which is being formed by positive shapes. This is what I mean by capturing negative shapes within your image. So if you think you know what I'm talking about, please let me know how you think I'm doing. And am I being clear enough? If there's something you don't understand or you're not seeing, please let me know down in the comments so that way I know how can I improve in expressing this kind of information. Because I know art can be a little tricky in terms of explaining what we see, especially if this is your first time seeing these kinds of things. So I want to help you out and take you step by step into recognizing the complexities of art. Depending on how you use shapes in your composition, they can pass down a lot of information, like the size and weight of your object inside your scene, or how dominant it is compared to other objects. But you have to capture shapes in a way that it doesn't show volume, light, or depth. because at that point then it's considered form, which is another visual element that we can talk about later. So that's why you really have to think about angle and perspective when taking your pictures in order to capture shape. Now, don't worry if it's a lot to consider. Developing an artistic eye takes time, so it's always good to practice. Look at mainstream images, look at book covers, look at your Instagram feed, and compare them to yourself in a non-critical manner. Instead, learn from them. See how they were able to capture shapes inside their image. So the next time you go out taking pictures, try to analyze your environment so that you can start noticing the placement of shapes around you. Perhaps you may even have to start forcing yourself to start seeing where these shapes are. Shapes can be used to create meaningful and interesting compositions. It's just a matter of noticing and subconsciously placing them in your shot so that they can talk to one another. And as a result, it can help you convey your message. Sometimes shapes can create mystery, joy, and a lot more. So as I've said before, one way to start helping you see how to apply shapes in your shot, I suggested to start looking at other people's work. Which brings me to my next point. I have a collage of pictures here from different photographers that I found on Instagram that I believe express the power of shapes very well. Please consider following them if you like what you see. That's why I left their Instagram usernames on the side. So as we jump in, I just want you to take notice on the ways they were able to use shapes in order to express an idea. So sit back and relax and enjoy the show. I'll see you in a bit. Welcome back. So, do you think these photographers use shapes effectively? If so, let me know down in the comments. Remember, my goal is to start teaching you how to see, so that you can start noticing the complexities of art and how those complexions affect us in an emotional level. All in all, thank you so much again for the privilege of your time. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit that like button. Again, if you want to help me out, consider commenting on this video so that way this video can get pushed to even more people so that they can start seeing the world differently. And again, I'll be seeing you next week where we will be talking about form as a visual element. Alright, so stay tuned. And remember to always stay creative. Alright, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.